Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to this bonus episode of your Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Guys, I wanted to share something with you. Last night, I spoke to Donnie of All Steelers Talk and Noah Strackbean of Sports Illustrated and All Steelers Talk. And we spoke about the QB camp battle, we spoke about the stadium name, and we spoke about the wide receivers. So what I want to do is to just take some clips from my video last night and share them with you here on the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Guys, the first clip I want to share with you in this first release of the Britsburgh broadcast last night was Noah, Donnie, myself, and Mark, my co-host here on Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, talking about the quarterback battle. Guys, stay tuned throughout the entire thing because Noah has got some fascinating insights into the Matt Canada system and what he saw at training camp. Probably stuff he shouldn't actually have said, given the fact you're not meant to say anything that wasn't reported. But some really fascinating insights, guys. Stay tuned for the entire thing, and you'll get some fantastic insights from Noah Strackbean, who actually was at OTAs and minicamp. Here we go, guys. Enjoy. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of what Noah had to say. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy. Hawks and Torches Stadium. Yeah. That's definitely going to happen. Okay, guys, let's move on. So obviously one of the big things this off season has been obviously the fact that our Hall of Fame quarterback has retired, and for the first time in 18 years, we've got this quarterback battle that's going on between. Realistically, obviously, it's only the three of them. It's between Mitch, between Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph, or the reindeer, as I like to call him. So, key questions here is, I think, one of the points that I've heard brought up this year so far, and it was brought by Bill Cower, is how do you make a three-way quarterback battle work in terms of getting to see enough reps and enough of these guys in preseason and in training camp? Donnie, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's certainly tough enough with only two guys. Now you sprinkle three into the mix. And I think we're all kind of smart enough to realize and understand that this isn't really a three-man quarterback race, right? It's essentially down to Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. Mason Rudolph's just kind of there for, I don't want to call him a camp arm because, he certainly has the experience and, the veteran kind of, not even leadership, just experience, I guess, that would require him to be on an NFL roster. So you have Mitchell Trubisky, former first-round pick. He's played in the league a couple of years, and you have Kenny Pickett, the new guy on the block, Steelers' first-round pick, used on the quarterback, and like you said, 18 years, Owen. It's going to be tough. It's certainly going to be tough, and I think Steelers offensive coordinator Matt Canada has already kind of hinted that Mitchell Trubisky was going to be the starter until proven otherwise. So I think heading into training camp and heading into the preseason, you got to give Mitchell Trubisky the number one reps, and then number two reps. I mean, let's not waste time. Have Kenny Pickett take the reps at number two. We've seen what Mason Rudolph can do. The jury might still be out on him, but you took Kenny Pickett in the first round for a reason. Whether he plays or not this year is an entire different debate, but you at least need to give him the opportunity to compete, and he'll be able to do that. With the number two team, offensive line, receivers, etc.
No, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. Mason there's nothing that sparks anything for me. Hasn't been anything that sparked anything for me for a long time. I look at it like it's Mitch's job to lose, not necessarily an open competition. Now, that being said, Kenny could win the starting job. That's like definitely on the table, not like possibly on the table. I think that they're going to go in there with the mindset that they believe Mitch is the best quarterback right now, but they also are going to have the understanding that they need to be open-minded enough to let Kenny actually have an opportunity. That'll come. Mitch isn't going to play all four preseason games. I would expect him to start the first one, Mason to start the second one, Kenny to start the third one, and then I honestly would believe that Kenny starts the fourth one as well. Or there's no fourth one anymore.
Yeah,
excuse me on that one. So those three. And by the third one, I could see Kenny playing like literally a whole half, because they want to see what he's going to have to bring during the game. He's a great practice guy. He's a super good leader. He's very mobile. He's a easy learner. He brings everything that you want for a guy at practice. Now it's just about seeing it in a game. So I think that they want Kenny to actually have an opportunity. But that being said, the offense is going to start adjusting itself to Mitch, and then it will change if need be.
Mark, what do you think? Do you think obviously that's a situation that's going to occur, that it's too tough to have three and we are only going to have those two, really, realistically?
It very well could be, but can you bring up that photo again so I can see who's in the picture?
Okay, no worries.
I was waiting for somebody to say this.
Isn't there a chance that Pat Frymouth can play?
He's everywhere, isn't he? This off season, he's been
Mate,
absolutely everywhere.
Is that what you were thinking, Noah?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You got me.
He's photobombing in the background there, yeah.
It's either Frymouth or it's Mitch, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be Mitch when you really think about it. Like, you went and got him for a reason, 2-year deal. Let Pickett sit there. Don't rush Pickett in. Just let him cruise into the job. If he's really good, sure. But if you just don't want to, like, look at what's the Jacksonville dude out that way. What's his name?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Like, he got thumped last year, dude. He won 3 games, 2 games, and it's just not good for your confidence as a rookie quarterback doing that. Let Mitchell go in there, at least play. And I still think that this offense is going to be Najee Harris and working in Muth and working in some of the receivers. We don't need an all-class quarterback for this offense, because we're going to rely on the defense as well. This defense is outstanding. If the defense can hold the team under 23 points, 21 points, it won't overly matter who's at quarterback, but I think Mitchell Trubisky gives the best chance to win. But then building Kenny Pickett for the future, like, there's a reason, like you said, Donnie, mate. Like, you got him for a reason at pick 1, but you have the veteran in front, use him for the reps. And I like your point too about not giving, don't give Mason Rudolph second reps. Like, why would you? And it makes sense, because you want to give your guy like Pickett to learn and improve on his skills. But at the same time, he's been in that building, he's been in that system. All the guy's done is walked over from college and come over to the other side of the road, and now he can advance. But if you throw him out there too fast to the Wolves, man, that's going to be a disaster, I think. And if people are upset about Acrisure Stadium, boy, oh boy, they will be pissed off about Kenny Pickett losing the first game. You know, you don't want that.
So do you guys think at any point this season, do we see Pickett actually start? Do we actually see him start? You know, is it after the bye? Is it if things start going wrong? Is there a point where you can actually see Pickett starting this year? Noah, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I definitely think so. I don't think that the Steelers' mindset never changes from we're here to win a Super Bowl. That's going to stay all season long. I mean, it literally stayed with a guy named Duck Hodges playing quarterback, and I love Duck Hodges. But if you were thinking we're still going to try with Duck Hodges, you're definitely thinking we're still going to try with Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph. I don't think it's a guarantee that Mason's off the roster when it comes this season. Donnie's convinced me of that. He's actually, like, we've hit a point where I'm going to have to buy a Mason Rudolph jersey and wear it on the podcast. I'm not upset about it, or I'm not happy about it. But I think that they're going to keep their best options, because they're going to look at this season as a question mark. And if Mitch is 2-6, they're not giving up. They're going to toss Kenny in there and say, you know, get us back to 6-6 and let's work from there. So yeah, no, definitely. I think Kenny can come in here, and think about the headlines. Like, if Kenny comes in here and he's a rookie and he balls out, brings this team from nothing to something, you get the stadium's going to be rocking a lot of A jerseys.
Donnie,
bring it back to Maddox.
Okay. Yeah, Donnie Maddox jerseys. Donnie, what's your take on the whole Pickett starting at some point this year?
Yeah, I definitely want to preface this by saying I am very anti-Mitch Trubisky. I don't think there's a lot of gas left in that tank, and maybe I'm letting the Chicago Trubisky kind of cloud my judgment. I like Mark's point that he brought up earlier. The last thing you want to do is you want to put a rookie into these very different NFL waters from college. We see Trevor Lawrence thrown to the Wolves, didn't exactly turn on great. Still a very long career, but like immediate results didn't happen there. You saw Justin Fields in Chicago last year kind of do the same thing. Not great immediate results, but we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are vastly a better organization and team than the Jaguars, than the Chicago Bears. But all that being said, I am all for the long-term investment of Kenny Pickett, which would require Mitchell Trubisky to start. Now, at what point does Kenny Pickett enter the field? I'm kind of with Noah. I definitely want to give Trubisky the last benefit of the doubt as possible. If that means going 2-6, if that means going 2-8, I think worst case scenario, if that happens, and you're letting Kenny Pickett play with house money the rest of the season, because either one, he balls out, and Steelers fans have something really exciting to look forward to for the future, or two, he doesn't play very well and say, oh, okay, rookie season, got through in at the last half of the schedule. Now he has the experience. He knows what it takes to step onto an NFL field. Let him get a full offseason as the starting quarterback, and then we'll see what we have in 2023.
What do you think, Mark? Do you think we're going to see Pickett this year at some point, or do you think it's a whole year sitting for him?
I think we have to at some point. I think the season is too long. I think overall, Mitchell Trubisky probably won't start. Maybe it all depends off too if Mason Rudolph is there as well, right? But I don't think Trubisky will start what are we doing, 17 games now or 16 games or whatever it is? Is it 17? 17 games. Yeah, I don't think he would start that many. There's a chance that I think he would either go out because of injury, and I don't think Trubisky would be a healthy scratch. He'd need to play really bad. And I think games in a row as well, 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row. Really bad, last chance, not playing well enough. Probably the media will heat up on Tomlin saying, you need to change, and Tomlin won't change for anyone, but he may bring him in at a certain time and say, well, okay, we are 2-6, let's try it, Pickett, nothing else to lose to get us back on track, or we could be, 6-6 or near the bye, and then maybe we are struggling, and they come out with something new and use Pickett. It really depends on I think if Pickett is ready or available to play. We'll say he's a good quarterback or one of the best in college, but is he ready to lead this team? The NFL is completely different. And you say it with Lawrence and the other guy, Zach. Who's the guy? The guy's MILF hunting right now. He's running around town.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he already made a catch. From what I've heard, he's already made a catch.
He got done too, but he probably doesn't even care. But he won the Jets and he's playing really, really bad. But these organizations throw those players in like that. The Steelers don't do that. However, in the last 18 years, we've never had this scenario. So I don't really know what to expect, but I think they will go with Trubisky. That'd be the smartest option to start him there, because even if he fails, then you can go back to Pickett. If you start with Pickett, then it's the whole camp controversy is just too much, I think, for Steelland to handle. But what happens then if Trubisky is successful? Then there's just so many questions, because we honestly can have 2 starting quarterbacks, and that can be a problem as well as a good solution too.
Who do you see being the backup on the actual game day? It's actually the guy standing on the sideline holding the clipboard and being ready to come in. Actually, if Mitch, let's say he starts, goes down, who do you think?
I think it's Kenny. Beyond popular belief, it doesn't make any sense. You have to change. If you go back to 2019, the biggest excuse that I heard from everybody, Randy Fichtner, all the wide receivers, Mason Rudolph, was that the offense was struggling because it was an offense built for Ben Roethlisberger. Well, if the offense is built for Mitchell Trubisky, Mason Rudolph ain't the guy that you want to toss into that offense if need be. Kenny Pickett has all the same skills that Mitchell Trubisky has, maybe some better ones, and I think you can run pretty much the same offense. Plus, look, the Steelers want all their best options, and they're not going to get rid of Mason Rudolph just because people don't like Mason Rudolph. They're going to see if he's their best option. But the Steelers also have a full understanding, because they've shown it over the last 4 years, that Mason's just not that guy. He's just not that guy, and they get it. They want to win. They know that's not what they're going to do with Mason.
Who's the backup for you, Mark, on game day?
Well, yeah, it really depends for me. If Rudolph is there, I think it probably has to be Rudolph, and maybe that Pickett might maybe behind Rudolph. I don't know, because here's a question too: if Pickett's ready to be backup, is he not ready to then be close enough to be a starter? Because you're only one play away, right, from being from an injury or something happens to Trubisky, and then you have to run in there and start. If it's second quarter, you're down by 10 points, Trubisky gets knocked out, and he can't play for a certain, the game, then now it's Pickett's chance to go and win that game. So is he ready to go out and actually play with the Steelers like that? Rudolph is ready, but we know what his ceiling is. We know what he's like. We know what he can do, right? But is Pickett ready, game ready? Is he ready for the calls? Is he ready for the handoffs? Is he ready for seeing someone on the edge come around and smack him in the face? Is he ready for these kind of things? At least Rudolph knows that. He got smacked by, was it Earl Thomas, the Raven dude? He's handled all that. He hasn't been the same since that. I thought it was a pretty okay progression before that. Rudolph has been in these elements where he's had a chance to go and to win or lose, where Pickett hasn't. So is he even ready enough to? If he's ready, then why not start him? If he's going to, that's such a difficult question, to be honest. It really is.
Mark, can I interrupt real quick? What if it's more Mitch has, like, because we know Mitch's ceiling pretty much. We know what Mason's ceiling is, but like you got to reach your ceiling. You know what I mean? Like nobody's immediately, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady the second he stepped on a football field. So what if Kenny's current ceiling isn't higher than Mitch's? That's why Mitch won the starting job. Like it's not as if he's not ready, because that's Kenny's whole thing is he is pro ready. And it's about like he could go win games, but is he a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky? I don't know if he is right now.
You could also just put him in the scenario where, like, if he is, put him at number 2, and then the coaches believe in him enough where he'll just go out there and excel, right? Like, you got to also you can't put him in a cupboard as well. You can't put these players and say, oh, we're going to leave you away. We won't let you play this season. We don't, because you can't learn in advance. The only way you get better is by going out there and playing. So, look, I think, I think we would all be shocked. Like, I know I'd be shocked if Kenny started. You know what I'm saying? Like, week 1 started. I'd be like, then why did you go out and get Trubisky? Is he going to be back up after that? That to me, and there's Boz can throw. And Boz took one. What, man, last year, Boz took one. We didn't get a penalty for that. But yeah, I think overall it's Trubisky. But if Kenny's behind there, maybe he comes out and he is ready. So maybe we do have 2 number 1 quarterbacks and Kenny's behind that. But in the same scenario, what do you do with Rudolph? This is the craziest time to be a Steeler fan. Not only did we lose one quarterback, we got 3 coming in.
Yeah. Donnie, what's your take? Who do you think is backup game day? Who has the helmet to come in if it's, say, Mitch starting and Mitch gets injured?
I would love for it to be Pickett, but I think I have to agree it's probably Mason Rudolph at this point. And the last few years have been very easy for the Steelers organization to kind of have their vote in confidence of Mason Rudolph because they knew Ben was playing. They knew Mason Rudolph didn't have to shut out into the field until a very emergency break the glass kind of scenario. It's very easy to be confident in the guy when you don't have to push your chips in the middle of the table. I think we all know how the Steelers feel now that they went out and got Mitch Trubisky and then they drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. It's very clear and obvious that Mason Rudolph just isn't cut out to be that guy in Pittsburgh. However, if you are going to sit Kenny Pickett, sit him. If you are not committing to playing him, or you don't want to throw him to the wolves right away, you don't want anything to happen his rookie year, you want him to learn by holding the clipboard, listening to the calls in the headset, all of that good stuff, sit him. It's very simple. I wouldn't be upset if Kenny Pickett entered the field as the quarterback number 2 in case anything happened with him. I agree with Mark, whereas if he starts, as in Kenny, I would probably be a little bit surprised. And you have to think, too, and going back to Mark's point, more than anything, the big thing about Kenny Pickett heading into the draft was he was the most pro-ready quarterback. If you had to play an NFL game the night after the draft, Kenny Pickett is your number 1 overall pick. The Steelers were giddy on the phone to call Kenny Pickett to make him the next Pittsburgh Steeler over Malik Willis, over every other quarterback in that draft class. That has to mean something, right? Like it's not them just being excited for a chance for Kenny Pickett to play 3 or 4 years down the road and develop him. No, and to Noah's point, the Steelers want to win right now. You do not want to waste the careers of guys like T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick,
100%.
and Cameron Hayward by rolling out whoever is the quote unquote favorite to play quarterback and end up going 500. The Steelers will always swing for the fences. Will it be Kenny Pickett this year? I don't know, but if it's the backup, it's probably Mason Rudolph if they do plan on sitting Kenny Pickett and Mitch ends up winning the starting job.
I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, I think it will be Rudolph, unfortunately, holding the clipboard on the sidelines. And as Mark knows, I can't stand Rudolph. I just do not rate him in the slightest. I've got nothing against. I know Mark doesn't believe me, but I've got nothing against the guy personally. I don't know him, but I just think he's too slow to process the field. He has no awareness of what's around him. He sees ghosts at times. And in 2019, at no point did he ever put his hand up and say, "Yeah, I'm your man, I'm your future." So I just don't rate the guy. And I would love to see Pickett, like I think Noah said, holding in the clipboard on the sidelines and coming in if we needed him. looking at obviously this year is going to be a massive year for Matt Canada and the Matt Canada system, and if it's going to work, whatever this system is, who do you think better fits that system though? Is it Trubisky or is it Pickett? What do you think, Donnie?
I mean, you'd certainly have to lean towards the quote unquote athleticism of Mitchell Trubisky, but let's not kid ourselves and act like Kenny Pickett is just this Peyton Manning-esque quarterback, like he can't move. I remember Noah going to OTAs and just walking away saying, "Wow, Kenny Pickett looks a lot more athletic than a lot of people are led on to believe." He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Michael Vick. He's not anything like that, but he can definitely make plays with his legs and extend the play if he needs to. In terms of running a Matt Canada offense, I don't think we got a good glimpse of what a Matt Canada offense is supposed to be like with a 38-year-old Ben Roethlisberger playing at the helm last year. So hopefully it's supposed to be a lot more motion, a lot more pre-snap stuff, a lot more creative. And that's why they got rid of Todd Haley. That's why they got rid of Randy Fichtner last year, to make it a modern-day NFL offense that can compete with the likes of Joe Burrow, that can compete with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, the other 14 quarterbacks in the AFC. I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous to see who's going to be that puzzle piece fit in the offense. But I think at the end of the day, it's probably suited more to Mitch Trubisky right now, but we've yet to see Kenny Pickett step onto an NFL field.
Now, who do you think is better suited to the Canada system? Is it Trubisky or is it Pickett?
So I think it's both of them. I think they could both do it. I'm kind of with Donnie. Like, what is a Matt Canada offense? Like, we have no idea. I truly still believe that we have yet to see him actually draw up anything. I think besides that, it's just we're going to run plays that I'm familiar with and plays that Ben was familiar with. Mm-hmm. Even what I saw at minicamp and OTAs, very questionable whether it's actually going to – it just seems like a lot of people are moving for no reason whatsoever. But if I had to pick,
so true.
Yeah, like this is the biggest thing is I don't know what Canada's offense wants. Canada and Tomlin want a mobile quarterback, so it'll be both of them. Kenny could definitely run. He actually does his best work outside of the pocket, and Mitch is way more athletic than people believe he is, and that he's shown. So I think both of them will be just fine. But I'm more interested to see if Matt Canada can actually form an offense to a quarterback, or if halfway through the season we're coming up with excuses to why Mitch is, standing in the pocket and not using play action and doing all the things Ben was doing.
Mark, what do you think? Who do you think is best suited to this Canada system? Is it Trubisky? Is it Pickett? And do you think Matt Canada has a system?
Well, yeah. The funny thing about this Matt Canada system is every single YouTube channel like us and the media keep talking about it, and we don't know what it is. But we keep building up to say till we know what it is, and we really don't, because we've been saying that because we hated the other guy, Randy. I can't swear because I might use it somewhere else. But Randy, Randy Fichtner, right? And what is a Matt Canada system? I don't know what it is, but I understand there's bits where you can move. But last year we're moving Claypool just to move him, and then even the body language of Claypool knew he wasn't going to go run a route, And the other guys, if you're moving the runner back, I want to see something happen a bit like how the Chiefs do, where Mahomes throws a football, 2 yards in front and it counts as a touchdown. Stuff like that, or getting involved in the fullbacks or receivers in motion, or pick plays. Like the Patriots do stuff like that all the time. They do great pick plays over the middle and gets people open. So I want to see something like you said, creativity and moving the football to see who fits that best. They're both mobile. I'm glad now that Big Ben, the whole idea, maybe the Matt Canada system is not the system. It's life after Ben. The new era is the new quarterback. So I love Big Ben, but when you really look at it, he probably should have retired in 2019. He probably really should have said, see you later, and we started from then. Because like Donnie said, you don't want to waste people. You don't want to waste players. People talk about wasting AB. If we waste TJ Watt, there's something going on. TJ Watt is a freak, and we have one of the best defenses now in the NFL, so we can't waste those guys. So there's a lot of pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure, not really on Tomlin, but more on Matt Canada this year. Because if he does the same thing as last year, which is 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s, aren't going anywhere, can't move the football, can't run the football, can't pass football, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble, and the defense can't do everything. That's why we stuffed up last year. But maybe I don't know with the system question because I don't know what the system is. So maybe Trubisky. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think it's the big test, obviously, in terms of this season for the new quarterback is going to be trying to implement this system. And I think it's sort of concerning what Noah said about the fact that it just seems to be a lot of people moving for no reason whatsoever.
So true.
Yeah.
I mean, no, obviously, no, you've seen that. I mean, what exactly did you see? I know that you can't say everything because you can only say what was reported.
Yeah. All right. So I could say we're far enough removed where I could probably say whatever I want, but I'll drop a little bit out there. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or what you see is a lot of 13 personnel, or like a bunch formation off of the line. And then everybody switches sides basically, but it's the same formation. Like you'll watch Zach Gentry go from the left side to the right side and Pat Freiermuth go from the right side to the left side and line up in the positions the last ones were lined up at. And you're just like, what did that do? Like, did you like the matchup with the other linebacker better? And did you know that was going to happen? Like, there's just so much of moving just to move, it feels, as in like you watch the Kansas City Chiefs and they're such a, like you can never figure them out offense. And that's because they have so much pre-snap motion, but that motion is so dedicated to something like so specific. Whereas in Matt Canada is just hitting a bunch of buttons on Madden and, people are moving.
Well, I was going to say that. Is the quarterback moving the offense because it's part of that play? Or is the quarterback moving the offense because they've seen something in the defense? There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference, but no, it's all predetermined motion. You could tell.
Predetermined pre-motion.
Yeah, predetermined pre-motion. That does nothing. That does absolutely nothing.
Okay, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah. And I suppose the one big concern, obviously, going into this new season is we haven't got a quarterback like Ben who could read the defense and change the play if he needed to at that line of scrimmage. Perhaps Trubisky and Pickett haven't got that experience, and I think that may be a concern. Obviously, going into this new season, Donnie, what do you think?
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Like I said earlier, I'm not a Trubisky guy. I'm really not. I was kind of upset whenever we signed him, to be honest. I get it. Reflecting on it, definitely get the insurance blanket the Steelers wanted to cover themselves with. But if Trubisky is, first of all, he didn't even play last year, right? And then the last time we saw him play, he played miserable with the Chicago Bears. So you have that. You have Mason Rudolph, where everybody on this podcast has already established the mutual feeling about Mason Rudolph. And then you have a rookie quarterback who hasn't even taken a snap in the NFL yet. So I'm a little skeptical about the quarterback position, but to be very, very fair, and I think Mark touched on this a little bit earlier, we're really going to see what Matt Canada can do. Because, okay, now, you know what? Ben, you could say he was holding back the offense last year with his lack of mobility. Sure, we'll throw it out the window. We'll get you a quarterback who can move. We upgraded the offensive line, maybe not terrifically, but upgraded nonetheless. We got you a second-year Najee Harris, a beast of a tight end, Pat Freiermuth, and then we upgraded your receiving core. You have all the possible tools you could probably work with. Let's see what you got.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Is it a concern for you, Noah, obviously, that we haven't got that quarterback now this year that can, read the defense and change the play, and perhaps slightly override Canada if needs be?
I think Mitch might have the power to overrule Canada at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if Kenny's going to have that power right away. Although I'm sure there's like some free, like no NFL quarterback's not allowed to be like, oh man, they have 11 guys in the box and we're running right up the middle. We should probably change the play. Mm-hmm. But like, to like go in the huddle and be like, all right, well, this was the play call, but like, I'm feeling this, or like, on a third down, like you're allowed to run a no huddle, that kind of stuff. I think Mitch might have some of that power. Kenny, very limited power, but enough. It is concerning, but at the same time, nobody drew up plays like Ben, like the drawn plays in the dirt thing. Like that's what made Ben special is if he wanted to, he could have just coached the Steelers and they would have been just fine. But you're not going to get that, like the average NFL quarterback isn't going to go out there and do that. So I think that coaching staffs are designed to work with that. but it will. We'll see for the first time like what it's like to really not have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and it's going to be so different.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the big thing, and that's was it. Mike Tomlin said it's kind of like a sort of a nervousness, but an exciting kind of nervousness going into the new season. Looking forward to it. I think one of the obviously let's sort of bring the quarterback thing to sort of try and tie up a little bit here. Chris Oladokun, the guy who is at the moment obviously the QB4. If we put him on the practice squad, do we lose him? Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. He's just so athletic. Look, I haven't really seen too much of his highlights, but I think any other teams out there, so many other teams in the NFL need backups or need that development guy. Why wouldn't other teams give him a shot? You know, if for a third QB. You know, so that's the big thing too. Is I don't know what the rules are in the NFL. I think can you save guys every week or something like that? I don't understand, but during the season, during the off season, you can lose them because I think as soon as they go on the practice squad, they're open to other teams, and if they sign them to the 53, they're good. But there's a chance if he goes out and excels in preseason and in the camp, that why wouldn't the other 31 teams pick him up for a chance? You know, you never know.
I mean, Noah, obviously you've seen him in practice. Do you think we lose him if we stick him on the practice squad, and would you put him as 3 over Mason?
I definitely I wouldn't put him 3. The only way I'd put him 3 over Mason is if he is on the practice squad and you're only going to keep Kenny and Mitch on the active roster. Mark, to your point, you could protect 3 guys a week, and it could be those same guys all season long. I agree with Mark. I think that's the best course of action is to keep Kenny and Mitch and see what you could get for Mason, and then put Oladokun on the practice squad and hope that he passes waivers. But he does. Like he's got some potential. Is he a star quarterback? No. Does he have a lot of work to do before he's an NFL quarterback? Yes, a ton. Like there's a significant margin between if Kenny Pickett's the third guy, then Kenny Pickett and Chris Oladokun. Significant. But, you know, he's got all the athletic tools. He's got all the natural ability. And on top of that, like he's a good dude. Like he's a genuine good guy who seems like a great learner. He's stuck to the quarterback's hip. So, you know, he's going to be smart and know what he's doing. He's got a good attitude. So I think somebody, you know, like the Rams picked up Duck Hodges. I know this is the second time I'm talking about Duck, but if the Rams picked up Duck Hodges, if Tyler Heineke starts for the Washington Commanders, yeah, chances are Chris Oladokun's gone.
No, Donnie, what do you think? Do you think we lose Oladokun if we put him on the practice squad?
Probably, yeah. And I think to everybody else's point, I mean, if he goes out and he has even close to a relatively okay preseason, I'm sure there's one of the other 31 NFL clubs that are going to be more than happy to at least bring him on. You look at the athleticism, you look at, so much more upside he can get as such a young guy that's just coming into the league. Maybe he does go to a team like Washington, who already has Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke already on the roster, or like pretty much anywhere else that already has an established quarterback to where they know he's not going to be relied on to play right away. And to Noah's point, and we talked about it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, Oladokun's best feature right now is kind of acting as a scout team quarterback, a mobile guy that can simulate maybe a Lamar Jackson whenever it's Ravens week, or, whatever other guy it might be. So that right now, Oladokun doesn't offer a whole lot, especially over a guy like Mason Rudolph, especially over a guy like Kenny Pickett. And I think to kind of put a ball in the conversation, Owen, you had mentioned that we'll actually see what Pickett and what Trubisky are going to look like whenever they get onto the field for their 3 preseason games. I think the same is going to go for Oladokun. And let's not forget, just because Oladokun isn't going to be the Steelers starting quarterback, it doesn't mean he's not going to be taking it as a job interview for any of the other ball clubs.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I think we do lose him if he goes onto the practice squad. But I think, like Noah said, obviously he's a 7th round pick. He has got an awful lot still to learn, and yeah, I think that you do need that insurance policy of an experienced QB3 if push comes to shove and you do lose one of your other quarterbacks. So let's try and move on now, shall we? To talk about obviously another camp Wow, Steeler Nation, what do you think? Some impressive insights from Noah there, and interesting discussion around the quarterback battle going into the training camp, which starts on the 27th of July. But some really interesting insights from Noah about the Canada system, what he saw during his time at the Steelers OTAs and Steelers minicamp in terms of people moving for no good reason. Does that worry you? Does that concern you about the Canada system? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Also, I had a discussion with him off air as well, and about Kenny Pickett, and he said Kenny looked very smooth, he looked very natural as well. Very encouraging to hear someone who was actually there, actually saw Kenny Pickett, actually knows what he's talking about. Be very, very, very pro Kenny Pickett. So yeah, guys, enjoy. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll hopefully be back later with a snippet of a clip about the wide receiver discussion. Thanks for listening, guys. Speak to you soon.